My father died believing his golden child would protect my inheritance. 18 months later, I watched FBI agents handcuff that same brother at Thanksgiving dinner. This is how the favorite son stole $2.7 million, and how I made sure everyone knew. My name is Alex Chin. I'm 32 years old, a software engineer who prefers silence over chaos. I moved across the country after college, built my life from scratch, and didn't look back. Growing up, I was the difficult child, the one who asked too many questions, challenged authority, and saw cracks in the family facade no one else dared mention. My brother, Marcus, 3 years older, was the opposite. Charismatic, charming, dad's pride and joy. The golden boy who could talk his way out of anything. If Marcus set a fire, Dad called it ambition. If I disagreed, I was being disrespectful. Dad was a self-made man, built his real estate empire from nothing. He preached about discipline, loyalty, and family legacy, but his actions told another story. When he got sick, I visited him every weekend. I brought his favorite green tea, organized his medications, managed his hospital paperwork. Marcus breezed in once a week in a tailored suit, dropped a few jokes, and Dad's entire face would light up. I told myself I didn't care, that I didn't need to compete anymore. But when Dad passed away suddenly from a heart attack at 68, the old ache came roaring back, the part of me that wanted, just once, for him to see me. The will reading was quiet, clinical. The lawyer slid manila folders across the table, his tone even. Your father's estate is valued at approximately $2.7 million, he said, divided equally between both sons. I remember exhaling, thinking maybe, finally, Dad had seen fairness as love. But then came the catch. My half wasn't mine yet. Marcus, the older brother, was named trustee of my share until Alex turns 35. The lawyer added, "It was your father's wish. He wanted to ensure your financial future was managed responsibly." I felt the sting behind those words. Responsibly, as in, Alex can't be trusted. Marcus smiled across the table, that perfect mix of sympathy and superiority. "Don't worry, little brother," he said smoothly. "Dad trusted me to look after this. You know I've got you." Mom dabbed her eyes. "Your father just wanted peace between you two." I nodded, silent, while inside something fractured, but I said nothing. I signed the documents, shook Marcus's hand, and walked out into the cold afternoon air, feeling like a ghost at my own inheritance. 6 months later, a quarterly statement arrived from the trust. I opened it at my kitchen table, expecting stability. The number made my stomach drop. $1.2 million. It should have been $1.35 million. I called Marcus immediately. "What's going on with the trust?" I asked. "It's market fluctuation, man," he said, voice casual. "Some investments underperformed." He sounded bored, like I'd asked about the weather. "You've got to let the money work, Alex. Dad wanted it invested aggressively." I didn't argue. Not yet. I wanted to believe him. After all, he was the businessman, the one Dad trusted. I wasn't naive enough to expect perfection, but something in Marcus's tone made my skin crawl. Another 6 months passed. Another statement came. $890,000. My stomach turned. That's a 34% loss in a year when the S&P 500 was up 18. I called again. "That doesn't make sense," I said. "You're losing money in a bull market." Marcus sighed. "You don't understand high-yield portfolios," he said. "You're too cautious. That's your problem." He laughed. "You've got to think long-term. Don't worry about it." Then he hung up. That night, I sat staring at the trust papers until the ink blurred. Dad's words echoed in my head. Marcus knows business. Alex knows books. Maybe that was true, but I also knew math, and math didn't lie. I didn't sleep that night. At 3 in the morning, I opened my laptop and searched forensic accountant inheritance fraud. The first few listings were expensive, the kind of specialists who worked for corporations or lawsuits. I didn't care. I hired one named Andrew Walters, Raiders Nerfy, $8,000. I drained part of my savings and wired the money that night. Andrew called 2 days later. "I'll need all your documentation," he said. "Every trust statement, your father's original agreement, any correspondence from your brother." His voice was calm, methodical. "It might take 6 weeks. 6 weeks. 42 days of pretending everything was fine, while I felt my father's legacy slipping away." Marcus called once during that time, inviting me to some networking dinner. I declined. He didn't ask why. When the report finally arrived, I opened it alone. The PDF loaded slowly, and as I scrolled, my breath stopped. Page after page of transfers. $1.6 million moved from the trust to Marcus's personal accounts. Property purchases. 3 rental homes, all titled under Marcus Chen Holdings, LLC. He'd forged my signature on authorization forms, created fake quarterly reports showing market losses, and even used Dad's old accountant to file false documents. I reread one line 5 times. Forgery of beneficiary authorization confirmed by signature analysis. He hadn't just stolen from me, he'd stolen my father's final act of trust and wrapped it in the language of business. I sat there until sunrise, staring at my reflection in the dark laptop screen. For the first time in my life, I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just went still, cold, focused. This wasn't about getting my money back anymore. This was about ending Marcus's illusion, the one where he was the successful son, the protector, the man Dad believed him to be. I contacted a federal prosecutor that afternoon. Wire fraud across state lines. Marcus had used accounts in 2 states. That meant the FBI had jurisdiction. I filed a civil suit in parallel. Every document, every fake report, every transaction went into evidence. For 6 months, I said nothing. I avoided calls from family. I played my role as the distant younger brother who couldn't let go of the past. Meanwhile, I built my case like code clean, efficient, undeniable. By October, everything was in place. And then the universe delivered the perfect opportunity. Marcus called. "Hey, little brother, hosting Thanksgiving this year. You've gotta come. Dad would have loved this house." His voice was proud, full of that old swagger. "New place?" I asked. "Yeah," he said. 4 bedrooms, great yard, smart investing. I knew that house. It was one of the properties listed in the forensic report, bought with $680,000 of my trust fund. I smiled. Wouldn't miss it. The next week, I coordinated with the FBI. Timing would be delicate. They wanted maximum clarity, minimal confusion. I wanted maximum witnesses. I asked for one thing: wait until after dessert. Thanksgiving Day came wrapped in polite tension. The air smelled like roasted turkey and deceit. I arrived early, wine in hand, mask firmly in place. Marcus greeted me with open arms. "You made it. Look at you, successful software guy now." Huh. I forced a smile, trying my best. The house was immaculate, polished floors, expensive furniture, designer lighting. My trust fund had great taste. Family members filtered in, laughter filling the air. Mom hugged me tightly, whispering, "I'm so glad you came." Marcus really wanted this to be special. I just nodded. Dinner started. Marcus carved the turkey like a man performing for an audience. His wife poured wine. Toasts were made. Marcus stood at the head of the table, glass raised. "To family," he said. "To Dad, who taught us the value of trust." The word nearly made me choke. I raised my glass too. "To trust," I echoed softly. Dessert came next. Pumpkin pie, laughter, the illusion of peace. Then, 3 sharp knocks rattled the front door. Marcus frowned. "Expecting anyone?" "No," his wife said, glancing at me nervously. He opened the door. 3 men in dark suits stood there, badges visible. Marcus Chen. "Yes. You're under arrest for wire fraud and embezzlement." Time froze. Forks clinked. Glasses trembled. "What?" Marcus laughed nervously. "This is a mistake." He turned to me, panic flooding his face. "Alex, tell them this is insane." I stood slowly. "I can't do that." Marcus, the agent, stepped forward, reading his rights as they cuffed him. "You did this," he shouted. I nodded. 6 months ago, I filed the complaint. The house you're standing in, bought with $680,000 from my trust. The other properties, another $920,000. You forged my signature, created fake reports, and stole from me while preaching about Dad's legacy. Marcus's wife started crying. My mother looked like she'd seen a ghost. "You're destroying the family over money," he screamed. I stepped closer. "Dad always said you were the successful one. Guess he never taught you the difference between success and theft." The agents let him out, the sound of the cuffs echoing through the quiet house. His kids cried, his wife begged, Mom covered her face. And me, I just exhaled. 18 months of silence, planning, and pain ended in a single, perfect moment. The aftermath was fast and brutal. Marcus pled guilty to wire fraud and embezzlement to avoid trial. For years in federal prison, 3 properties liquidated. The trust reinstated. I recovered $1.35 million, plus $340,000 in damages and $200,000 in penalties. Every cent accounted for. But the real victory wasn't money, it was clarity. For once, the golden boy wasn't untouchable. For once, everyone saw who he truly was. 8 months later, I visited Dad's grave. The sky was overcast, wind cold against my face. I knelt, setting white lilies on the stone. "Hey Dad," I said quietly, "you thought Marcus would protect me because he was the businessman, because he could charm anyone. But you taught me something more valuable than money. You taught me patience, the kind that waits while everyone underestimates you. Marcus stole from me, from your legacy, but I got it back. Every cent, not by being the son you favored, but by being the son you doubted." I paused, looking at the carved words on the stone. James Chen, loving father, legacy of integrity. "I hope wherever you are," I whispered, "you finally see me clearly." I turned and walked away, the leaves crunching under my shoes. Sometimes revenge doesn't need rage. It just needs proof and patience. If you've ever been underestimated, called paranoid, or told you're too careful, remember this: the quiet ones build cases while the loud ones dig graves. Comment below. Patience is power. Like this video if you believe justice is worth waiting for. Subscribe for more real stories where karma doesn't knock. It kicks the door in. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't loud, it's legal, and it's unforgettable.